What if I told you the greatest individual scoring run in modern NBA history is happening right now, and most people aren't even paying attention? Luka Doncic, over the last 3 weeks, has done things on a basketball court that only a handful of players in the entire history of this sport have ever done. Not just this era, not just this generation, all time. And somehow he's dropping in the MVP race while doing it. Let's start with what's actually happened. Since March 5th, Luka Doncic has scored at least 30 points in 12 consecutive games. He's the only player in NBA history to score 30-plus points in 9 straight games while winning every single one of those contests. The Lakers went on a 9-game winning streak. He scored at least 30 in every game. On March 12th, he dropped 51 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists against Chicago. On March 19th, on the second night of a back-to-back, he went to Miami and scored 60 points. He made 9 three-pointers and had 5 steals. The crowd at Kaseya Center, Miami's home arena, started chanting MVP for an opposing player. Austin Reeves said afterward, "He continues to drop in the MVP race, which is insane to me. I guess it doesn't really matter. Maybe he's got to score 60. I don't know." He'd already scored 60. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button. This is exactly the kind of content we're going to be bringing you all the way through the playoffs. On March 25th, 43 points in Indiana. On March 27th, Doncic played through a hamstring injury that had him listed as questionable, and scored 41 points against Brooklyn anyway. Over his last 12 games entering Friday night, Luka Doncic averaged 39.7 points, 8.1 rebounds, 6.9 assists, and 2.5 steals per game on shooting splits of 49, 39, 80. His true shooting percentage during that stretch was 63%. The Lakers went 11-1. This is not a hot streak. This is something else entirely. Here's where it gets genuinely historic. Over the Lakers' 6-game road trip that concluded in Indiana on March 25th, Doncic averaged 40.7 points per game. That made him the first player since Michael Jordan in 1986 to average at least 40 points over 6 consecutive road games. Michael Jordan, 1986, 40 years ago. Think about what that actually means. In the last 4 decades, every elite scorer in NBA history has had a chance to do what Luka Doncic just did. Kobe Bryant didn't do it. LeBron James didn't do it. Kevin Durant didn't do it. Stephen Curry didn't do it. Not one of them averaged 40 points across 6 road games in a row. The only player who comes close in that conversation is Michael Jordan, and Jordan hadn't yet won his first MVP or championship when he did it. He was just a 23-year-old on a mediocre Bulls team that was going nowhere in the playoffs. That's the company Luka Doncic just joined. During that same 11-game stretch, he totaled 435 points, 89 rebounds, and 80 assists, only the second player after James Harden to reach those combined figures over such a span. His 60-point game against Miami made him only the 3rd player in NBA history to score 60 or more points 3 times in a career, joining Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant. That game was also the first in NBA history where a player recorded 60-plus points, 5-plus steals, and 9-plus three-pointers. That combination has never happened before. Not in Wilt's era, not in Jordan's era, not in Kobe's era. Never. He did it on the second night of a back-to-back, after arriving in Miami at 5 in the morning. Now let's zoom out, because what Doncic is doing this month doesn't exist in a vacuum. This is his first full season with the Lakers. He's leading the NBA in scoring at 33.6 points per game, averaging 7.8 rebounds and 8.3 assists. He joined Kobe Bryant, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Shaquille O'Neal as the only Lakers in franchise history to score 30-plus points in 12 consecutive games. He became the fastest Laker to 2,000 points in a season since Kobe Bryant in 2005 to 2006. Entering this season, Luka Doncic already held the 3rd highest career scoring average in NBA history at 28.6 points per game, trailing only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. He is 27 years old. The players ahead of him played their entire careers. Luka has 8 seasons. Kevin Durant, who recently passed Jordan on the all-time scoring list, has publicly said Doncic could be next to overtake that record. When people call this stretch historic, they are not inflating it for content. They are describing what the numbers actually say. What do you think? Is this the greatest individual scoring run of the modern era? Drop it in the comments. Now here's the part that should make every basketball fan genuinely angry. After the 60-point game, after the 51-point game, after averaging nearly 40 points for 3 straight weeks, Luka Doncic dropped in the official NBA MVP ladder, from 2nd to 4th. Victor Wembanyama jumped over him to the top spot. Nikola Jokic jumped over him. Luka was asked about it after the Brooklyn game on Friday night. "The better I play, the more I go down in the ratings," he said. "I don't know what more I can do." He's right. There is no logical answer. Michael Wilbon said publicly on ESPN that Doncic won't get his MVP vote because, in his exact words, he plays half the court. Nick Wright called the situation lunacy, saying it was headed toward a second historic MVP snub for a player averaging 33 points on a 50-win team. Isaiah Thomas argued that because the Lakers aren't winning a championship this year, Luka doesn't qualify as truly valuable. The narrative against him runs on 3 familiar pillars. 2-ball dominant, complains to referees, doesn't play defense. Here's the problem with that argument right now. His defensive rating this month is 110.8. That's elite. He ranks in the top 10 in steals. JJ Redick has said publicly that Luka has been a good defender for this team all season. And the ball-dominant criticism is real, but the same voters who penalized Luka for usage gave Nikola Jokic the MVP 3 times, a player who controls the ball as much as anyone in the league. The narrative is running about 2 years behind the reality. The voters have made up their minds about who Luka Doncic is, and no amount of 60-point games on the second night of a back-to-back is going to change it. Luka Doncic is 27 years old and is having one of the 20 greatest individual scoring stretches in the history of professional basketball. He has joined company that includes Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kobe Bryant. He is doing it while leading the Lakers to the 3 seed in the West, while playing through a hamstring injury, while scoring against playoff-caliber opponents on back-to-back nights on the road. He scored 60 points in Miami. The crowd chanted MVP for him. He dropped in the rankings anyway. History will sort this out. What Luka Doncic is doing right now will be referenced decades from now, the same way we reference what Jordan did in 1986. The only difference is that in 1986, people were paying attention. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this.